First things first, let's confirm a few things. Yes, the mortgage interest rates are rising. A lot of people are sending me this thinking that it's talking about mortgage interest rates, and it's not. It's something completely else. Today we're talking about refinancing and home purchase rates. Those are in fact going up. It was a standard, at least for the last year, in my opinion, that most interest rates were like in the twos, right? If it was in the threes, it'd be like, whoa, get a second opinion. But now I'm not really seeing any twos. I'm seeing a lot of the threes, and some people out there say that it will continue to go up and hopefully maybe stop around 3.5 or even go up to 4. And on top of this, there's another thing going up. There's the lumber prices. About a few days ago, it spiked up and it exceeded the highest amount that it's ever been. It dropped again, but if this trend continues, it'll start rising, and eventually be at another high. So in today's video, I want to talk about what these two things, among others, are going to do to the real estate home buying industry, and if it's going to make things better for home buyers, if it's going to make things worse, if it's going to help things, or if it's like a giant dam and the holes are starting to kind of come out and eventually there's just going to be like a giant rush of things, right? So let's start about it. I'm deciding to shoot this video in the morning. As you can tell, the daylight's there, so I haven't had my coffee, so you're gonna have to deal with it. Oh guys, we got a special appearance from Spider Girl. Say hi, Spider Girl. All right, Spider Girl, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Love you very much. Make sure to close the door. I recently did a poll on my YouTube where I asked people, hey, are the rising rates discouraging you from buying a home? And it was about 41 to 59%, where 59% of people say no, and 41% of people said it yes. You might look at that and say, well, the majority are still buying a home, so things should continue to be crazy. Well, that's not necessarily true, because for that 41% of buyers is going to make a huge difference. I like to think that this huge rush of demand that we just recently went through in the housing market was primarily not necessarily just a generational thing where people are starting to be, get families and get married and want to settle down. But I think that low interest rates are a huge motivating factor. I mean, the interest rates were like the mid twos, and now if they go to the mid threes, that's like a difference of like $200 to $300 a month, right? So that house that you could afford with this low rate of like, let's say 350 is now dropping down significantly. So the people's purchasing power are dropping at a heavy rate. And personally, what I thought what this was doing is it was bringing too many pre-qualified buyers to the market, not necessarily home buyers, because you can get pre-qualified and keep getting your offer denied and never get a house, but it was causing a huge increase of these pre-qualified buyers. So these houses would get on the market, and instead of having 2 or 3 offers, they'd have 20 or 25, further increasing the ego of the seller and increasing things further. I think people are really underestimating this 41% of people that said, nah, I don't think I want to do this no more. Sure, even I felt it. There's this thing that happens with home buyers when they start seeing that interest rate go up. They just feel that pain, like ooh. It hurts. It hurts a lot, and it hurts so much to the point where you're just like gonna pull back. Like, how many people go buy a TV after Black Friday? Even though 60% of folks are still saying, yeah, we're moving forward regardless, and 40% of them saying, I don't know, I think this is a perfect ratio of showing how many people were actually serious. Not to say that everybody wasn't serious, but there's a certain group of people that actually had to move out of necessity, and there was another group of people that are saying, hey, let's try to buy, if not, no worries. And what this rising interest rate is going to do is going to start getting rid of those people slowly. Remember what I said in my previous video, guys, the real estate markets work like 3 or 4 months late. Like if there's something done in the market now, you won't feel it until 3 or 4 months later. So real estate agents have been marketing heavily for sellers for the past 3 months. It is now March. And if you're a homeowner, you've probably been getting letters in the mail. You've probably been getting, freaking Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Please let us know in the comments below now. Have you been getting a lot of ads? So agents have been seriously marketing towards these sellers, homeowners, having conversations with them. And I think we're getting to that 3-month period now where sellers are like, yeah, it's a great time to sell. My neighbor sold their house and made this much for it. Holy crap, I want to make that much for it. I think there's starting to become more sellers that are just throwing caution to the wind and saying, yeah, we'll go rent. We'll go live somewhere else because, once again, FOMO, I want to get rid of this house at top dollar now before it drops in value. And I know this not just because I'm guessing. I actually had conversations with real estate photographers, and they're getting booked. They're getting booked in weeks in advance now. They're seeing a huge demand of, holy crap, there's a lot of photos that want to be taken. And here, like, just so you guys know, in the cities, the major cities, there's like 3 or 4 companies that are like the standard that most everybody uses. Now, they're not the best all the time, but they're the ones that are easy to use. You order online, it's like $120 and you get professional photos taken, and your seller thinks you're amazing, but really you just paid $100. These are the companies that 80% of realtors use, and those are the ones that I had conversations with that are saying, you know what, yes, we're getting booked in advance. There's a huge rush of listings coming in soon. You're going to start slowly seeing that decrease of demand from buyers. It's not going to be a massive drop. There's still a lot of people that want to buy homes, but you're going to slowly start seeing that decrease. That those rising interest rates hurt. I'm buying a second home right now, and I almost got caught in a 4.5 interest rate because the second home interest rates just like skyrocketed last week. So thankfully, my lender locked me in early enough where I'm still in the low 3s, but I almost freaking got stuck at 4.5. I think a lender told me that there are like 10, 15 cancellations of second home purchases last week just because of that, right? It's going to slowly be a trickle, or that demand starts steadily dropping. Like right now, we're at 9,500 closings per month here in Phoenix. Now, the next month might seem normal because, you know, the next month's numbers are this month's numbers, but the month following is going to be probably 8 or 7, in my opinion. Now, you would combine this with the inventory that's going to start rising soon. Now, once again, this is just a prediction, but if my sources are correct and my rule of 3 months is true, you're going to start seeing a nice little flow of listings. Now, if it's going to be a massive rush, I really doubt it. Maybe about 20 to 30% increase of inventory out there. So like, for example, we have 5,000 listings in Phoenix right now. We might see, you know, another 1,000 hit the market. So we might be floating around 5,000 to 6,000 in 2 to 3 months. By Q2, you're going to start seeing the changes slowly happen. Q3, you'll feel the effects of it Q3, and definitely Q4, where historically it's always been a slower time to sell or buy. You're going to start really feeling it there. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be a market crash, but I do think it's going to provide that nice little flow of cushion for home buyers who are struggling right now. Now, here's a problem with this. Even though it will be less competitive to buy, it's still going to be more expensive. The effects of this increase of values are going to be remaining for a bit. So what I mean by that is, even though things start stabilizing and things aren't selling at a rapid rate, those prices are still going to be higher. So unfortunately, there are many cities that are just going to be a little more expensive to live in. So what this might cause is more of an exodus, not necessarily from California and New York. Their exodus has already happened. But what I also predict is a small exodus of the people who lived in these towns who are no longer able to buy, going to smaller towns or going to towns that are not so known. So that might be happening, and your smaller towns actually might be seeing a little boost in value because of that. So next, I want to talk about home builders or lumber prices. Now, usually in my videos, I like to call them out in their bull because they like to pull a lot of crap. Like this last video I made, I talk about how they're starting to do this highest and best bidding situation that are driving up the freaking lot prices even more. I think this is really going to make or break us. If our new builders can keep up with the demand needed from these home buyers, we might be okay. Here's the problem though. Lumber prices are continuing to increase. Yes, it just dropped. There was like a large spike and then it dropped like a few days ago. But if you see the trend, it goes up, then it drops, and it goes up. And when it goes up again, it goes higher than it was before. If this trend continues, it's not good for builders. Lumber is going to stay more and more expensive, and these increased prices are going to be shot over to the buyer. So you're paying for the increased value. The home builder process, or new construction process, used to be, hey, go pick out a lot. Once you pick your lot, go to your design center, build your house. Do you want to add the patio? Do you want to add this? Do you want this color? Do you want the granite? So it was like all like, ooh, fancy, right? So with this model, home builders order the lumber by whatever the person wants. Like if they get 4 or 5 people under contract, then they'll order, lumber for those homes. And I'm sure if they're like looking at the prices go up, unfortunately, if they get people under contract in the time where lumber prices are high, it's going to be tough for them. It's going to hurt them a lot. So I think this idea of you picking out a lot and building your house is gone. I think what builders are going to start doing is they're going to start ordering in massive quantities. Like they're going to just get a giant shipment of lumber, giant shipment of materials, whatever, right? And what they're going to do is they're going to simply get a bunch of lots and start building houses. They're not going to consult people. They're not going to say, hey, what do you want? They're just going to go ham and just pick different designs and just start building like crazy. What I think is going to happen is they're literally just going to be buying these giant lots or like areas or farmlands or whatever, and they're just going to start building. They don't need you to go in there and pick what you like. They know that they're in a lot of demand right now. So if they just go start building, the fact that it's newer, people are still going to like that. Now, for some people, this might dissuade them. you know, like you want to build a house. But let's face it, if you're looking for a house right now and there's a new construction home that's being built, and even though it's not built to you the way you wanted it, the resale homes are also not being built to the way you wanted it. So would you go for the newer house for a little more price, or would you go for the resale? So I'm already starting to see it with a few. I think like Lancy Homes is doing this right now. There's some other ones as well. But I mean, pretty sure they're all going to go to this prefabricated model where they're just going to create the houses and you go pick out which one you want. And there's going to be long wait lists for you to be pick out of the... There's going to be a long wait list for you to pick the house, right? So they're going to sell all these lots, all these houses being built before they're even done being built. They're going to use all that money they made there to move it to another, and they're going to keep it going, and going. So the rise of lumber is going to change the way new construction is being done. In my opinion, is it good or bad? Well, good as in they don't have to be waiting on people's choices. They can just start building, giving the inventory we need. Bad is you're taking that experience away from home buyers. Whether this video is good news or bad news depends on your situation. I personally, I want things to calm down because this market is not good for my mental health. So I hope things start kind of adjusting and favoring home buyers a little more. Now, it's going to be more expensive to live in these states, in these cities, I'm sure. But as long as you're fair game, as long as like there's only 1 or 2 offers per house, then that's okay. Because people can then know what their threshold is. Okay, it's more expensive to live in my city. Let me start working harder. Let me get my spouse to get a job, whatever the case may be, so that way we can purchase the house we need. Whereas right now, if people have a down payment, have the closing costs, have money stayed in the bank, it's still not good enough to get a house because of the insane amount of demand. What do you guys think? What do you think is going to happen for the future? All of my crash chats, please let me know how I'm wrong and the market's going to crash. For everyone else, please let me know what your thoughts are. I would love to hear your opinion. By the way, if you're still watching,